Hello there, welcome to my review of 1997's Titanic as part of my James Cameron season. Just 3 years after directing True Lies, James Cameron was back with the most expensive movie ever made at that time, a record previously held by James Cameron for True Lies, and before that by James Cameron for Terminator 2. But between True Lies and Titanic, the record was held by 1995's Waterworld, and the media was speculating this would be more Waterworld than True Lies or T2. However, they fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia.
The slightly less well-known is Never Bet Against Cameron, and Titanic quickly became the highest-grossing film of all time at that time, and still the fourth highest grossing film of all time. If you know anything about the real-life ship, the RMS Titanic, you'll know it was called Unsinkable, and in a twist of tragic irony, it sank, killing over 1,500 people, due in part to its lack of adequate lifeboats. The film follows that doomed voyage through the perspectives of high society gal Rose, whose family has fallen on hard times but is betrothed to wealthy financier Cal Hockley, and of poor artist Jack, who wins his ticket in a poker game. They meet and fall in love after Jack convinces Rose not to kill herself over her loveless engagement.
Don't do it.
Stay back!
I have to be honest, I am not a big fan of this film. I could come up with a variety of reasons why the movie is bad, but that would be dishonest because it's not a bad film. It's an incredibly well-made film with brilliant special effects and enormous attention to detail, to accuracy. I just didn't like it. And while it might be tempting to nitpick things like how, despite the enormous attention to detail, they still made mistakes, that feels a bit cheap, because the truth is, I didn't engage with the central romance that the plot revolves around, and, as that is so integral to the enjoyment of the film, the rest of it was lost on me. For me, Cameron is at his weakest when he's writing about characters falling in love, as I mentioned in my Terminator review, and I really didn't get the sense that these two characters were falling in everlasting love, more that it was a whirlwind romance where the stakes were suddenly raised, much like Kyle and Sarah in Terminator. But as that was the central premise of this film and not just a plot point as it was in Terminator, I was far less forgiving about its failures. It touches on themes of class conflict and how pre-war society treated the different classes, but without any real contextualization. It paints these differences with very broad strokes, which feel very surface level. I think this is a fault of the story, starting with the start of Jack and Rose's relationship. So we end up spending so much time seeing this couple fall in love that we have little time for anything else other than stereotypes and cliches.
All right, open your eyes.
Having said all that, if you do buy into their relationship, then you will probably love the film, because everything else it does incredibly well. Cameron's passion for the history and legacy of the Titanic is on full display from the first frame, where we meet modern-day Bill Paxton as a Cameron surrogate, searching for the wreck of the famous ship, something Cameron had done himself. The ship is recreated in exacting detail, down to the napkin rings. Every inch of the ship in the film looks like the real ship. They were even given access to the Titanic's original blueprints in order to assist with the recreation. And when watching the film, there is never a moment where you are taken out of the belief that this is a full-sized ship at sea, even though it's not. In that sense, the immersion is complete. The CGI effects are seamlessly integrated into the film, alongside the practical effects, and the sinking of the ship is a truly horrific and believable spectacle. It's also beautifully shot by a director who clearly loves what he's filming, and every scene takes in the splendour of the ship, the costumes and the characters. It has the feeling of a golden age epic in both scale and style, including some scenes being shot in one take because flooding the set destroyed it. It's also filled with a laundry list of the best character actors working in 1997, all giving fantastic performances, and for all the fictional elements, also features some true life elements of the people who really sailed on the Titanic.
Please, Ida, get into the boat. Where you go, I go.
I really can't argue with the quality of the production, the attention to detail, the performances, or any element of the craft involved in making this film. But I just don't enjoy watching it. And that's no one's fault. Some films just aren't for me. And what a boring world it would be if we all liked everything regardless of the quality. So if this film brings you joy, that is great, because that's what entertainment is all about. If, like me, it didn't, then that's okay too, because, let's be honest, there's plenty of other entertainment out there. Let me know your thoughts on the film in the comments. Thank you. Goodbye.